Leafs Nation, get ready for a potential seismic shift. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Buffalo Sabres, long-standing rivals in the Atlantic Division, might be putting their animosity aside in the name of survival. Recent reports, published just today by Tim Daniels, confirm that these two teams, both sitting near the bottom of the standings, could be circling back to a trade discussion that dominated the summer. Toronto's target? The dynamic young defenseman Bowen Byram. The price? Our defensive pillar Brandon Carlo. This report, corroborated by Sportsnet insider Nick Kypreos, suggests that the conversation never truly died, with the Sabres facing an overcrowding issue on the left side of their defense, and the Leafs desperate for a puck-moving defenseman who can generate offense. A Byram for Carlo swap is being described as a move that makes a ton of sense for both sides. To truly understand why Brad Treliving would even consider moving a reliable right-shot defenseman like Carlo, we need to look at the sky-high ceiling of Bowen Byram. This is a player with serious pedigree, the 4th overall pick in 2019, and a Stanley Cup champion with the Colorado Avalanche. The problem in Buffalo, as the article highlights, is that Byram simply hasn't received the kind of role necessary to maximize his skill set. With Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power consuming the power play minutes and offensive responsibilities, Byram has been relegated to a secondary role that simply doesn't justify his immense talent. In Toronto, however, Byram would immediately step in as the number 2 offensive defenseman, either alongside or just behind Morgan Reilly. His skating ability and offensive instincts, evidenced by his 38 points last season, would bring a dynamic dimension that Toronto's often vanilla blue line has sorely lacked. Kypreos' analysis hits the nail on the head. Byram, with a reasonable $6.25 million cap hit, presents a younger and arguably more long-term option. Toronto continues to weigh how best to support or potentially replace Morgan Reilly, and Byram's two-way upside fits that mold. But this trade won't come cheap. Brandon Carlo is a high-end defensive defenseman who brings undeniable stability. However, his current situation makes him expendable for the right asset. Carlo is currently on the injured reserve list, which has put negotiations on the back burner momentarily. But once he's healthy, his value is undeniably high. The fit in Buffalo is clear. The Sabres desperately need a right-shot defenseman to play alongside their left-shot stars. Carlo, with his size and ability to kill plays, is the ideal partner to free up Dahlin or Power. Plus, his contract, with salary retention from Boston, is a bargain at $3.485 million. Financially, this trade is workable. The Leafs would take on Byram's $6.25 million cap hit, while the Sabres would assume Carlo's $3.48 million. The nearly $3 million difference would require the Leafs to move another contract, perhaps David Kampf or Kaye Jarnkrok, or for the Sabres to retain some salary. But the foundation of the deal is solid. So why would Buffalo do this? Tim Daniels' article points to a critical contractual reason. Bowen Byram could become an unrestricted free agent after next season in 2026. With Dahlin and Power already locked into massive long-term deals, the Sabres simply cannot afford to pay Byram the $8 or $9 million he will command on the open market. Keeping him long-term doesn't make a lot of sense because the blue and gold are overcrowded on the left side, the report states. Trading him now for a controlled asset like Carlo, who has another year on his contract and is cheaper, maximizes their return before Byram loses trade value as a pure rental. This is a classic definition of a hockey trade. The Toronto Maple Leafs gain the offensive upside and youth of Byram to energize their defense. The Buffalo Sabres gain the defensive stability and hand-in-his balance of Carlo. if Treliving and Adams can overcome the divisional rivalry. This trade could be the catalyst both desperate teams need to salvage their seasons.